Every Friday, we give you a chance, and this one's going to knock a few people's socks off, and not necessarily in a good way, but a chance to blow off a little steam, a chance to tell us what you think about the shows that we've been doing or the issues that we've been covering, a chance to have thousands of people hear what you think they need to hear. It's proudly presented by Local Environmental Services. You can check them out online at localenviro.ca. They're also on our website, localenvironmental.ca, a proud presenter of Trash Talk. All right, this one from Frosty, who wrote into the show after Johnny and I were talking, we were talking to our good buddy just the other day, Nasher. Jeff Nash came in to talk about the National Hockey League getting rid of warm-up jerseys like those for Pride. And
what did he say?
Well, Frosty says, hey, Jespo, maybe people don't want woke bullshit crammed down their throats anymore. Just wait. We give Pride a whole month, and we give our war veterans a single day. First responders don't get much either. Yeah, apples and apples, Frosty. Great comparisons. Says companies should leave politics and woke ideology out of their business. Hockey is for everyone to enjoy. Yeah, that's right, Frosty. Even the homophobes. How about this one from Gary, who says, I'm listening to your show, Ryan, and I believe you have a misunderstanding of those with religious concerns around Pride. It's not that they're not accepting of people or their flags. They cannot stand with this flag because of, you're not going to like this, the things that people do is sin, and that's against their beliefs. Just wait, Johnny. The same stand would be if someone was for murder and they were against murder. Just wait. And they would be against murder. They also recognize they are not perfect and people are not perfect. They recognize God is for them and God would be for them if they turn from their sin. It's all about standing up for what's right and truthful. He says there's two sides to the story, and I'm sure that some people are a little too aggressive on both sides. Shall we, or shall we just move on?
Ah!
Feel better?
I'm good.
This one from Lauren, who says, Jespo, I want to thank you in talking about the Titan sub for explicitly putting those rescue efforts, the Titan sub, and that boat where hundreds of migrants lost their lives. Thanks for stacking them up side by side on the show. I was appalled, says Lauren, that 90% of my work colleagues were paying close attention to the submersible story. I thought it was a metaphor, actually, for the sorry state of society. Like watching the billionaire ultra-phallic space race wasn't bad enough. So 4 billionaires and a poor kid trying to please his dad get into an uncertified vessel and then die? Who cares? Now, why is all this latest technology deployed, millions of dollars spent to rescue them? It's a classic case of fuck around and find out. She says, meanwhile, a bunch of desperate people who worked their asses off for years to pay unsavory characters to get on a leaky, overloaded piece of shit to get out of a terrible situation, get noticed and then ignored by folks with resources to save them. What a place. Lauren says, as someone who thinks there's no way humans are the only form of intelligent life in our vast, expanding universe, I also think that other life forms who have figured out interplanetary space travel would observe Earth from a distance. They would do the equivalent of us shaking our heads, and then they'd go look for more intelligent beings to interact with. That from Lauren. And this one from Kat, who says, people seem to think that it's horrible to not feel sympathy for the people who died on that dive to the Titanic. But I can understand it on multiple levels. A lot of people are feeling rage at the 1%, right? And I understand that raw, visceral rage. But that's not why I can't sympathize. Some say I should feel sorry for the families who've lost loved ones. Well, I find it really hard to feel sorry for the poor decision-making of the millionaires and billionaires and their families that we're talking about. What about all the American families who lost family members because corporate profits of pharmaceutical companies were more important than actually saving lives? People that have been forced to choose between food and medicine and then dying because they chose to eat. But I'm supposed to care about the rich people and their families? Wah, 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 says Kat. Millionaires, billionaires actively undermining basic safety regulations for decades, and then they basically take a trip in a vessel from which rescue literally is impossible, and I'm supposed to feel sorry for them in this deregulated world they've been fighting for? They brought this upon themselves. Meantime, says Kat, people are suffering and dying every day due to policies that these people fought for and paid for to make themselves even richer. How many people are suffering or have died in order for these folks to have $250,000 to throw away on a stupid trip to the bottom of the ocean where they can't even see anything? They probably got their money by underpaying and exploiting workers, by investing in companies that underpay and exploit workers. How many families have been broken apart because of opioid addiction so that the Sacklers could become billionaires? How many families are living in poverty because the Waltons have made it corporate policy for Walmart to pay their employees so little that they have to collect food stamps and welfare? That's part of their corporate HR. How many families in Detroit are suffering because of the water there? How many diabetics have died because they can't afford insulin just so pharmaceutical companies can rake in record profits? Why is the first response to inflation to raise interest rates, punishing every normal family in the country while making additional millions for the banks, allowing corporations to continue to gouge customers and rake in record profits? And how many of those families who now have to pay more for loans are missing medical treatments or the opportunity to go to school or driving cars that are unsafe because they can't afford the repairs? The list of normal people victimized by the kinds of people throwing away $250,000 for a vanity trip goes on and on and on. That from Kat. You can be like Kat and send us your rant to talk@ryanjesperson.com. You could hear it on next week's edition of Trash Talk, proudly presented by our friends at Local Environmental Services. Make it a great long weekend. Make it a safe long weekend. Make wise decisions out there. Don't ever drink and drive. We're going to take Monday off, and we'll see you live right here Tuesday from the Real Talk studio.